Now let me share with you that which was given to me this past week by a gentleman who was here tonight. He's written the most glorious stories. I hope he keeps it up because they're exciting. I share them with those who came home since I received his letters, and I will share them with you tonight. He's a writer. He writes for TV. He started 3 years ago on this show that has been running for 3 years, and he writes every third or fourth script. He said, when I started, my price was $2,500 a script. And in 2 years, my agent got it up to $3,000 a script. Then, a year ago last Christmas, my mother came from the east to visit us. And I told her what I received for a script, $3,000 a script. And she said, well, I always assumed that you got $3,500 a script. She wasn't at all impressed with $3,000. And then he tried to explain to her that as far as he knew, there was no writer in the field, solo writer, who got more than he did. He was getting $3,000 a script. She was not impressed. Didn't disturb her at all. She still said that as far as she was concerned, it was worth $3,500 a script. Well, 2 months later, the agent was called by the studio for a contract, a renewal of contract for the next year of writing. Before, naturally, he would go over to the studio, he would have to discuss it with the writer. And so he explained to the writer he didn't think that they should ask for more. They moved it from $2,500 a script to $3,000 a script, and you shouldn't price yourself out of the business by asking for more. And so the writer agreed. It was a nice, friendly relationship between himself and the producer, so why ask for more and get out of the business? So it was agreed. The very next day after this agreement, a conference was held to discuss stories, a story conference. And so the producer said to the writer, have you come to an agreement with the contract for the next year? And he said, yes, I'm going to sign. He said, have you asked for more money? He said, no. He said, you asked for more. He said, but you're always complaining about the budget. It isn't big enough. And now you're telling me to ask for more. I said, you asked for more money. Again, he said, I don't want to price myself out of the business. He said, you tell your agent to ask for more. So when he went back, he called his agent. And when he told the agent to ask for more money, the agent thought he had too many cocktails for lunch. So he said, no, I will give you the source. And he told him what had been told him at that very day at the conference. So the agent, now armed with this information that the very producer had recommended an increase, said he called up the business office of the studio and asked for more. And they simply blew their top, they screamed. And then very generously they said, we'll forget it, as though you didn't even ask for it, so that the nice relationship between the producer and the writer can go on as it has for the past 3 years. But the agent, knowing the source, was adamant. And so when he came out of that office, he came out with a contract for $3,500 a script. So said the writer in his letter to me, my mother merely assumed that I was getting $3,500 a script. And so her assumption went behind the backs of all of us, producers, everyone, and bore fruit. So then he said, I called her up and I told her what I was getting, the script now. And then she started to seriously study your books. And he said a problem, a great burden, has been with her for 25 years. A most distressing problem, which I will tell you about at some future date. But may I tell you, last Friday, it was completely swept out of her life. And now a confession is in order. When I first heard you, I couldn't understand you. And then I began to be afraid that I was going mad because I could understand you. Then he said, I will explain that later. So I am waiting eagerly for their explanation.